Hello and welcome to another JavaScript lesson for beginners. Today we are going to learn about operators in JavaScript. Operators are not difficult or complex to understand. They are basically the way we can assign values to variables, compare values, do basic arithmetic operations and stuff like that. There are quite a number of them. What I have on the screen is just a file named operators.js. You can name it whatever you like, it does not matter. And here inside the file I have comments. We learned about comments in the previous lesson. Comments are kind of ignored in JavaScript. They are not the part of the codes that JavaScript work with. So this is just comments showing the things we are going to cover. We are going to learn about the different types of operators, including the tricky ones like the ternary operator, the null coalescing operator, modulo, and all that. I will start with the one that is easiest to understand, which is arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used to perform basic arithmetic operations like to add two numbers, 3 plus 4, which we know that the answer will be 7. I can store this in a variable. Let me call it num. So we use the addition sign for addition in JavaScript. If I go ahead to display the results of num, we expect to see 7. Save, right click, run, we have 7, right? In a similar way, we can do subtraction. Let me say 5 minus 2. The answer should be 3, obviously. We have 3. And we can do multiplication using this symbol. 5 times 2. This is how we do multiplication. We expect the answer to be 10. And we can do division. That is the symbol for division. 5 divided by 2, we expect to get 2.5. Because 5 divided by 2 is 2, remainder 1. That is this 0.5 here. The one that is a little bit tricky to understand is modulo. Modulo returns remainder after division. So this is the symbol for modulo. 5 modulo 2. Since 5 divided by 2 gives us 2 remainder 1, the modulo operator will return the remainder, which is 1. I will save and run. Actually save, I did not save. Clear the console, run it one more time. We have 1. That is the remainder when 5 divides 2. What about 4 divided by 2? We have remainder 0 in that case, right? We can do something like let's say 7 divided by 5. I will clear the console, save and run. We have 1 remainder 2. So this is the remainder when 7 is divided by 5. So we can quickly use remainder to tell if a number is even or odd by dividing that number by 2. When a number is even, if you divide it by 2, you get a remainder 0, right? Simple mathematics. If I save and run, it means that the number 5 is odd, so we get a remainder. If we divide 4, or let me use 6 by 2, run, save and run, we get 0. It means that the number 6 is even. That is just one of the use cases for modulo. And the last one is called exponentiation. Let me show you with an example. 2, 3. It raises the power of what is on the left to what is on the right. So this is equivalent to 2 raised to power 3. 2 times 2 times 2, which we expect to give us 8. I will save and run. I did not save. Come on, save, run. We get 8. We can do 5 raised to power 2 like this. Save it and run. We expect 25. That is 5 squared. Alright, so those are basically the arithmetic operators. The next one we have to look at are assignment operators. The assignment operators are used to assign values. For example, we can say let age be equal to 18. Using this operator, the equality, we are assigning the value 18 to the variable age, right? Console.log to display age, save and run. Scroll down to see 18. This is assigning a value to a variable. And then we have increment operator. Let me show you. Let's say I have a value, let's call it x, to be equal to 1. We can say x plus plus to increase the value of x by 1. So even if the value of x were to be 2 here, x plus plus gets the value of x and after that increase it by 1. So if I come down here and say console.log x, now we expect x to be 3 because it was 2 increased by 1 and the value should be 3. So we have 3. In a similar way, we can do x minus minus to reduce the value by 1. Save and run. X is now 1 because 2 minus 1 gives us 1. We have another variant of this, which is plus plus x. The difference here is that if you were to make use of x, the value of x when you do plus plus 1 will be increased before you make use of x. I will actually explain this with something more elaborate. Let's say let x to be equal to 1. If I do console.log plus, let's say plus plus x, that is just a text, equals plus plus x. This is just a text. You can put anything here, doesn't matter, right? But this is what we are interested in, plus plus x. And I'll have another one, let y to be equal to 1. So I will do console.log, actually x plus plus, then plus plus y, x plus plus, x plus plus, and plus plus y, plus plus y. The difference between the two is that the plus plus comes after the variable in the first case, that is x plus plus. In the second one, the plus plus comes before the variable, that is plus plus y. What will happen is that the value of x will be displayed, will be used before it is increased in the case of x plus plus. So the console.log will give us 1 in this line because it is first going to make the value of x in the console.log command before it then increases x. By that time we have already displayed x. In the case of y, however, it is going to give us 2 because it will first increase y by 1, that is y plus 1, which is 2, and then display it. So before it is displayed, the y value has already been increased. This is the difference between the value then plus plus, and then plus plus before the value, right? If I go ahead and save this, we expect to see the answers accordingly. So you can see that x plus plus gives us 1. It displays x, it makes use of it first before increasing the value. But for y, we have 2. It increases y before executing before displaying it. So if we come down here, however, and display x one more time without the plus plus this time, let me just say x. Remember that here x was displayed before it was increased. So we expect that at this point that the value of x is 2 because it was increased here, right? I will also display y. The value of y will remain 2, of course. This should be y and y here. I will save and run. You can see that x is now 2 and y remains 2, of course. So let me quickly explain that one more time. When we do the variable plus plus, in this case x plus plus, the variable is used before it is increased. That is why we are seeing for x plus plus it is giving us 1 here, and after that, immediately after that, it is increased by 1, and that is why x is now 2 at this line. That is why we have x to be equal to 2. But when we do plus plus, then the variable, the value is increased first before it is used. That is why in this case we have y to be 2, y plus plus. That is 1 plus 1. And down here, of course, y remains 2. Okay, so far the plus plus we have is called increment operator. There is the other side of it, the decrement operator. They are basically similar. Instead of increasing, we are subtracting using the decrement operator. So we use minus minus in that case. I will change everything to minus minus. Then I will increase this number by, let's say, 2. The values of the initial values of x and y to be 2. Similar to what we have for increment, what will happen is that when we do x minus minus, the value of x will be evaluated first before it is decreased, right? And here the value of y will be decreased before it is evaluated, before it is used in the console.log or whatever other expression. So if I go ahead to run this code, we expect x to remain 2 the time it is displayed here, and the value of y to have been decreased at the time we do console.log. I will clear the console, save, right click, run the code. So we see that x remained 2, and immediately after it was displayed, it was then decreased. That is why x is 1 down here. But for y, it happened immediately, the decrement, before it was even displayed. Alright, so that is for increment and decrement. The next assignment operator we want to look at is this plus equals. The symbol, this operator. We also have the equivalent for subtraction, minus equal, and the multiplication, etc. So assuming you have something like let's say x to be equal to 2. I've used x too much, let me use something else. Let age be 3. The next year we expect age to be 4, of course. Age to be equal to age plus 1. not equal to age plus 1. So age was 3, and after we add 1 to age, we expect age to be equal to 4 by now. So I will display age, clear the console, save, and run. Age equals 4, right? Because we added 1 to whatever that was the value of age. We can actually do this with a shorthand using the plus equal to. Let's say let x to be equal to 3. We can say x plus equal to 1. This is similar to the line of code we have here, where we take the value, increase it by whatever that is after the plus equals, right? If I save and console.log both age and x, we get the same value. Save, run, you can see it is 4. We can change this to be plus equals 3. In that case, x will be 6. Right click, run, x is 6. So this is some kind of shorthand or shortcut for doing something like this. We also have something similar for subtraction. X minus equal to 3 is the same thing as saying x equals x minus 3. If I save and run this, we expect 0 because x is now 0 after subtracting 3 from it. We can also do the same thing for multiplication, division, etc. So we can say x times equals 2. This is equivalent to age, not x here. This is saying age to be equal to age times 2. They are the same thing. I will go ahead to display age, save, clear the console, run. That gives us 6. We can also do for division, which is equivalent to age. Why did I put x there? This is saying age to be equal to age divided by 2. Clear and run. We get 1.5. So that is that. The next operator we want to look at is called ternary operator. Now the ternary operator can be a bit tricky for a beginner to understand, and I will show you with a simple example. Let's say we have a student score, exam score of 39. What we want to do is to give a remark that says pass if the student passed the exam based on the score, or fail if otherwise. Assuming that the pass mark is 40, we can say if the score is greater than 39, that means the student passed. So we can say let remark to be pass, but then remark can also be fair, right? What we want to do is to use the ternary operator to assign either pass or fail to remark depending on the score. The way it works is that we can say, let me just comment this out. We can say let remark, before that actually, if score is greater than 39, then if score is greater than 39, we put this question mark. That is the syntax. Then we say pass, else we say fail. So this is the way you write this ternary operator. On the left is what you want to check. In this case, we are just checking is score greater than 39. then you must put this question mark if whatever that is on the left is true. In this case, is score greater than 39. If true, after the question mark, whatever that is here is the value, right, that will be returned or assigned to the variable, as we can see in a moment. Otherwise, we have what is after the colon. In this case, because the score is not greater than 39, let's just make score 37 so it's not confusing. Because 37 is not greater than 39, this will be the assigned value. We can actually assign that to remark. We say remark to be either pass or fail depending on the result of this. So if score is greater than 37, greater than 39, remark will be pass, otherwise it will be fail. Let me just quickly do console.log remark so we see that. I will save and run. You see fail. The reason we have fail is because this is false. The score is not greater than 39, so the value fail is assigned to remark, is stored in remark. Assuming for another student and the score is 50, if I save and run, in that case we have pass. That is because the score, which is 50, is greater than 39. In that case, what we have here is assigned, right? So basically the syntax for the ternary operator is, let me write it as a comment, the condition. If the condition is true when true, else when false. So we have a condition we are checking. If it is true, whatever that is the value here will be used. Otherwise, the value here will be used. So that is for ternary operator. The next operators we are going to look at are comparison operators. We have actually made use of one of the comparison operators here when we compared score and 39. That is using the greater than operator. We are going to see the other types of comparison operators. I will quickly show with examples. Let age be 12. So we can say console.log age greater than 5. This is going to set true because we are checking if age is greater than 5. This is greater than operator. If I save, clear the console and run, we get true because age is greater than 5. If we say age less than, this is less than operator, we are trying to compare and check if age is less than 5. Save and run, we get false because 12 is not less than 5. That is the less than operator. In a similar way, we can do something like greater than or equal to. This is a greater than or equal to symbol. Let's say console dot, or I can actually assign this to a variable. Let result be equal to age greater than or equal to 12. The value of result will be true because age is 12 and 12 is greater than or equal to 12 according to basic arithmetic. The only difference is that this time I am storing the result in the variable. Remember that previously we just did console.log, displaying whatever we are comparing on the screen. But this time I am storing that in a variable. So I can still go ahead and do console.log of the result, just like we did before when we did that directly. I'll clear the console, save and run. True. because age is greater than or equal to 12. If, however, age is 4, we get a false because 4 is neither greater than nor equal to 12. That is greater than or equal to. We also have less than or equal to. In this case, it is going to be true because 4 is less than 12. So it satisfies the condition less than or equal to 12. Save, run, true. So that is for greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. What if we want to just check equality, whether 4 is equal to 4, right? Or let's say I don't know, num, whatever, to be equal to 5. What we want to do is to check if age is exactly equal to num, whether the two of them are equal, neither greater nor less. We save, we clear the console, we run, we get false because the two numbers are not exactly equal. But what if it is 5 in both cases? We save, we run, we get true. Now in JavaScript we have another one using only double equality. Let me comment this out and show you. Instead of using 3 equality signs, I'm going to use 2. I will save and run, we still get true. If I alter one of these, change this guy to 4, save, run, of course we get false because 4 and 5 are not equal. Now what is the difference between using 3 equality signs and 2 equality signs? That will bring us back to data types that we discussed in the previous lesson. When you use the 3 equality signs, it is going to check that the values are equal and the types of data are also equal. I will show you with a simple example here. Let me comment this out. Let's say result 1 and result 2. If I go ahead and do console.log result 1, I will also do the same thing for result 2. Result 2. If I save both of them as it is now, will give me the same answer for now. Both of them are false, right? Because both of them hold the same type of data in this case number, or you can say integer values. Age and num are numbers, they hold the same type of data, integer. What if we change one of them to string? Remember when we talked about string? Hello, this is a string, right? We can actually do something like this. What will happen is that in the first case, this is going to check if age and num hold the same value. Let me change this to 5. So both of them will hold the same value. So in this case, it's going to check age and num. Do they hold the same value? True, they hold the same value. But do they hold the same type of data? False, because age is now a string, but num is a number, an integer. So this will give us false. But when you use only 2 equality signs, like we did here, it's just going to check is age and num, are they holding the same value? If true, it's not going to try to check if they're holding the same type of data, the same data type, right? In this case, this line will give us true. I will save, clear the console, and run. We see for the first case, false. Even though they are the same value, they are not the same type of data. This is string, this is integer. In the second case, says true, says I don't care whether the same type of data are, whether the variables hold the same type of data. All I care is to see if I can convert this thing to give me 5, to give me the same value. So that is why we have this. In summary, the triple equality sign is what you want to use most of the time unless you are sure what you are doing, because this checks both the type of data and the value. This basically just checks the value. Okay, you can learn more about all these true and false and how JavaScript, does the checks behind the scene by doing a Google search, or you can visit the Mozilla documentation. The link as showed. Oh, come on, why are you scrolling? The link is here. You can just do a Google search for truthy and falsy in JavaScript to learn more about all that. And finally, now we move on to the last type of operators. We are going to look at the logical operators. The first logical operator I want to look at is the OR operator. Let me write a comment. This is the symbol and it basically means OR, right? So how does it work? The OR operator checks for a value that is truthy. Based on what I try to explain here, certain values are truthy or falsy in JavaScript. Let me give you a quick example. Let my truthy to be equal to false or 0 or let's say 12. Console.log my truthy. What will happen is that the OR operator will keep going from left to right until it finds what JavaScript evaluates to truthy. For example, these are examples of truthy. When we say true, this is truthy. The number 1 evaluates to truthy. Any number like this, whatever number, evaluates to truthy, etc., etc. So when you do OR operator, JavaScript will start from the left. It will check, is this truthy? To say no, this is falsy. I actually copied some of those falsy values in JavaScript, right? It will say this is falsy. I will move on to the next value. Is this truthy? No, it is not truthy. I will move to the next one. Oh, this is truthy. It will then return the value. If, however, it doesn't find any truthy value, it will return the last value. I will show that case in a moment. If I clear the console, save and run, we get 12, because none of these values are truthy until we got to 12. False is falsy, 0 is falsy, 12 is truthy. What if we don't find any truthy value? Let me pick one of the null is one of them. We talked about null when we did data types. So none of these evaluates to truthy. What will happen is that JavaScript will return the last value. Let me actually switch them. I'll put null here and put false here. In that case, it is just going to go through all of them and, oh, I cannot find any truthy. Let me just return the last guy here. At least I must return something. I will save and run. We get false, right? So let me modify this a bit to make things clearer. What if we find truthy anywhere before we get to the last value. In that case, JavaScript will go falsy, no, I will not return that. Falsy, no. Oh, truthy, I will just stop at this point. So whenever it finds a truthy value, it will stop and return that value. I will save and run this. We get 2 because 2 is truthy. We don't care about anything that comes after that, right? So that is how the OR operator works. Now we look at another logical operator, the AND operator. The symbol is double ampersand, and it basically means AND. How does it work? Let me rename this to my AND. I will do console.log my AND. The way it works is that just similar to the OR operator, I will actually change all this. Let me delete this. The AND operator starts from the left to check all the values, the operands. If it finds any one of them to be falsy, it immediately returns that value. Otherwise, it will return the last value. Let me show you with an example. 1 or 0, because 0 is falsy, and 2. If I do console.log, it will return 0. Come on, console.log and run. We get 0 because it goes from left to right. If it finds any falsy value, it will just return, right? What if I swap this? If I go 3 and 0, it is not going to return 3. I will run, it will still return 0 because 3 is truthy. The AND operator does not return truthy unless it is just the last value. It will just return the last value. It goes from left to right. If it finds a falsy value, it will return, and that is it. So let me modify this a little bit. I will go with 3 and false, and then 2. So the falsy value is at the middle. Let's save and run. We get false. It goes from left. Oh, this is truthy. I will just skip. This is falsy. I will just return the value. What if I have truthy value all true? 3, 4, and 2. It will just go from left, keep going. If it doesn't find any falsy value, it will just return the last value, which is 2. So this is just like the reverse of what we have with the OR operator. Let's look at the next one, the NOT operator. Exclamation point, this means not, right? Let me think of an example. Let age, let its food to be equal to true. Console.log its food, of course it is true. So the NOT operator basically reverses true to false and false to true. It basically checks the opposite. Let's say, for example, if not its food, or let me make it another variable. Let check to be equal to not its food. Basically saying, does it not eat food? I'll do console.log check. So we said eats food true, but we are checking if the person does not eat food, which is false because here we say that the person eats food. So we get false. If not eats food, right? If, however, we have someone who doesn't eat food, actually false here, someone who doesn't eat food, and we are saying, does it mean that this person does not eat food with the not operator? The answer is going to be true. Let me save and run. The answer is true because this person does not eat food. So this is like the basically how you can use the the not operator. If you do it double twice, it is going to reverse true, false, twice. So let's assume that the person eats food. As it is now, this is true. If we put one exclamation point, it is false with one exclamation point. If we do double exclamation point, it reverses that to true again. So it keeps switching between true, false, true, false. Having double exclamation point like this is the same thing as not having it at all, because one exclamation point checks if the person does not eat food. The other one checks the opposite of it, right? If I save this, clear the console and run, we get true. But this is something you can take a little more time to try to understand it. Let me not confuse you. So we go back to the basic stuff, that this checks, it kind of does the opposite thing if the person does not eat food. And finally, we have the Nullish coalescing operator. What is Nullish coalescing operator? Let me give you a simple example. So here is a simple example of the Nullish coalescing operator. This is oftentimes used to assign a default value. Let me give you an example. Let first name to be equal to John. Let user name be equal to, what we want to do is, if the person has a first name, we use the first name as the username. Otherwise, we assign a default value. So we basically say first name, does the person have a first name? Use first name. Otherwise, we can say anonymous. This is the Nullish coalescing operator. The symbol is this, right? What will happen is that it will assign either first name if the first name is defined, or anonymous to the variable username. So we do a quick console.log username, save and run. We have John because John has a value. John is used. If, for example, we set first name to be null, we talked about null in the lesson for data types. If, for example, John is null, we run, we get anonymous, right? Because John holds, the first name holds no value. Actually, I was saying John when I should be saying first name. So that is the Null coalescing operator. If what is on the left holds a value, that is used. Otherwise, the default value we assign here is used. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is a quick rundown of operators in JavaScript. I hope you like it. Until next time, happy coding.